Sing, can nobody love me like you? Yeah. Keep on giving me life.
Hey y'all, hey. It's real. Ask me to go with you. You know I will. Hold me near. Hold me tight. Only you can make it real. Only make it alright. Just thinking about that song, like the lyrics on that song. That song is Angel by Layla Hathaway remade it. I forgot what's baby name, but anyway, the lyrics of a lot of R&B songs can be really saying to God. Like if you think about the love that we have for him, the love that he has for us, like you can really, yeah, them lyrics, God, only you can make it real, only you make it all right. Like that's a message in itself. But anywho, hola, ¿cómo está? So today I'm just gonna be basically talking about God and how when he tells you to move, baby, you have to move. And that's what got me into the place, this position in life that I am in right now. God literally had to tap me on my shoulder and say, now, like, I need you to move right now. And it's so crazy because I never thought that I could hear God's voice or, you know, listen to him or know when he's speaking to me. But if you seek God and if you ask, like, he will speak. If you ask for him to speak to you, he will. And what's even crazier to me is sometimes even when you don't ask, he will speak to you. Like, but you won't know that he's speaking to you unless you get close to him and know. So there was one time, the reason that I know this, that I know God will speak to you even if you aren't asking him to, is because one time in high school, and I didn't have a close relationship with God back then. Like, I was still, you know, a follower of Christ, of course, but I wasn't opening no Bible and reading the Bible. Like, I'm a sophomore, maybe a junior in high school at this time, and I'm working at a retirement home, right? And this retirement home was owned by my church, by the AME church. And so I worked as a receptionist at this retirement home. And it was just one day, this lady walked in, and she lived there, so I had seen her a few times, so it wasn't nothing like strange about this situation. She walked in, and I would speak to the residents when they walked in. So she walked in, but today it was just something about her that I could feel in my spirit that maybe she was having a down day, kind of. I'm sorry. All that smoke at the Cuban Sandwich Festival. I can't even talk. It's in my lungs, bro. But I could tell that she was having, like, I don't even know. It didn't even seem like she was having a down day, but something in my spirit was like, she might be feeling down. So she was checking her mail because, like, the mailboxes was right there by the front desk. And something just told me in that moment, I did know it was God, because I remember telling her, God told me. But in that moment, God told me to get up, give her a hug, and tell her that everything's going to be okay. Now, did I know why? Hell no. I'm in high school, like, but it was still crazy to me that, like, thinking back, even in that moment, I was obedient, but it's crazy that God was speaking to me to do that for her. So I got up and I said, excuse me, ma'am. I'm sorry, this might sound crazy, but I feel like God is telling me to give you a hug and tell you that everything's going to be okay. Like, everything's going to be all right. He told me to tell you that. And she was, like, on the verge of tears. She was like, I actually have cancer and I'm about to go into chemotherapy, my second round or something like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so glad I was obedient. And it actually, like, it meant something in that moment, like immediate what's the word? I can't even think of the word, but it was like immediate gratification. Like, I listened to God. I was obedient. I obeyed what he told me to do. And I could see why he told me to do that. Like, sometimes when we listen to God, we don't even know why, but we're doing it. Like right now, me making these videos, me sharing my story, my testimony, talking to you all, making videos, it's something that I feel like God has told me to do. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure whose life I'm going to touch. But I'm being obedient, and I know that somebody's going to hear this, and it's going to either inspire them to do more, to do better. I don't know. I'm not sure. To keep going, to maybe even just to let them know that they're not alone in their situation. But I was obedient in that moment, and I gave her a hug, and I told her, and it was just, I felt good after that. Like, I felt really good after that. I can vividly remember this day. But that was back in high school. And I'm like, if God was speaking to me back then, without me even seeking him, without me even having the relationship that I do with him, it's crazy how much he's going to speak to me now that I'm actually actively seeking him. I'm fasting, I'm praying, and I'm in this transition / waiting phase of my life. Like, I feel like I'm in my pruning season where God is taking things away, taking things out of my life that don't need to be there, character traits, people, things like, I don't know, extracurriculars, things like that. I feel like I'm in a pruning season so that I can be the best fruit that I can be. And another thing that's even more crazy is, I don't even think that was the first time that God had spoken to me. The first time that I felt like the Spirit had spoken to me was when I was like maybe 10 to 12. I don't remember exactly how old I was, but I can remember vividly this day. And it still haunts me because it's like, God was telling me to give my life to Christ at that moment, but I didn't because I was scared. And I was like 10, maybe. I might have been younger than this. I cannot remember. But I remember this Sunday vividly. It was an Easter Sunday at my church. And, you know, growing up in the AME church, service can be kind of long. So it was already... Oh, my gosh, I look cute. The Cubans was out, baby. But they wasn't even biting. It's okay. I ain't got no Cuban husband, clearly. But, let me stop. It was already a long service. It was Easter Sunday. And I remember my dad was at church with us. And my dad, you know, he didn't go to church every Sunday. He wasn't a heathen, but it was like my mom was always the one taking us to church. So my dad was at church with us this Sunday. And I can remember feeling like when they did the call to altar, I felt like, go up there, like, I just felt something telling me to go up there. And I felt in my spirit like I wanted to go up there. I wanted to cry and I wanted to go up there. And in my spirit, I was like, I'm finna grab my dad's hand and ask him to walk down here with me. Like, I wanted to grab my dad's hand and walk down the aisle. And I don't know why I didn't. Like, I didn't want people to be mad at me. Like, she finna make the service even longer. God, lead this little girl. Like, what is she doing? But in that moment, I really wanted to go to the altar and give my life to Christ. And I wanted my dad to take me with. I wanted to grab my father's hand. Like, it's so crazy. I really wanted to grab my father's hand. And I kind of regret not doing it because when I actually did give my life to Christ, it wasn't like a moving moment for me anymore. It was like, okay, I need to do it. But it wasn't like, the emotions weren't there. The tension wasn't there. Like, the Spirit, I don't feel like was urging me and nudging me to do it at that moment. So I should have done it the first time. But I was really young. And I feel like that was God speaking to me. That was the Spirit moving through me, like, telling me to give my life to Christ. Even though I was very young, like, I hadn't gone through much in my life at that time, but it was still like something was telling me to give my life to Christ. But I didn't grab my dad's hand. I didn't walk down that aisle. And after that Sunday, like, I just felt so bad. Like, nobody knew, but I felt bad because I knew I should have gone down there. And I was like, damn, I missed my opportunity. But yeah, looking back now, I'm like, dang, I can never do that again because my dad had a stroke and he's no longer walking. So I should have done that. And I just wonder what kind of impact that would have made on him. Like, my daughter really, she wanted me to walk with her to give her life to Christ. I don't know. But anyway, I feel like that was the first time God spoke to me. And I didn't listen. I feel like it's been a few times that God was speaking to me and I didn't listen. Or I didn't I didn't give God 100% of the credit of speaking to me. Like, I would be like, is this God speaking to me, or is this just my mind? Is this just my own thoughts? Or, like, you know, I would just, like, not totally give him the credit of speaking to me. And I'd be like, I brush it off. Like, that ain't God, okay. Or even if it was, like, I'm going to just see. I'm going to just, you know, check it out, see what it is. See what it be about. But it's just crazy. I feel like God has always had a calling on my life. Even since I was a kid. Like, I always knew deep down in my heart of hearts, that there was something greater meant for me. Like, I could be sitting in the church parking lot after church, and I don't know why this would always hit me every Sunday. I won't say every Sunday, but it would always hit me on Sundays, where I would have this feeling as a kid, like maybe 7 years old. I can remember feeling like this from a young age. Oh my gosh, that smoke. From a young age, I can remember feeling like, I want more than this. Like, I want greater. And what happened was, my uncle used to sing in a band growing up. And one day, I think my mom was in the hospital at this time. So he was helping us, like helping out my mom by picking us up from school. And he would take us to band rehearsal with him, because, shoot, he had stuff to do too. Like, he ain't just picking us up. He had stuff to do. So he would take us to band rehearsal. And one of his band members, I don't know if it's a lead drummer or whatever, but he had a really nice house. And I remember my uncle taking me. I might have been even younger than 7. I don't remember how old I was, because my mom was in the hospital. I was really young. I might have been about 7. She had a cancerous tumor in her stomach, but she was getting it removed or whatever. I don't remember. I was way too young. I need to ask her about that. But back to the story. This is where I first saw, like, greater. Like, we didn't grow up poor by any means, but we were like your low middle class, your average low middle class family. And that was my first time seeing a really nice house, a really nice kitchen with the lights, like little ambient lights and stuff. I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is really nice. At a young age, I was like, this is a nice house. Ever since then, I wanted more. Like, ever since I saw that, it's like, exposure is so freaking important. Like, once you see something, you cannot unsee it. And so, once I saw that house, I could not unsee it. And I was like, I want a house like that. I want something even bigger than their house. I remember always thinking that. Like, I want something even better than their house. And so on Sundays, I would just feel, first of all, we got to go back to school the next day. But I would always see the adults and hear the adults talking about how they have to start their weeks and go back to work tomorrow and be dreading starting the week, basically. Like, they're dreading Monday. And I never wanted that for me. Like, not saying that I'm not finna go to church every Sunday and then, you know, got to go back to work. But I would just feel so down, and like, it would just make me sad. It was sad to see, sad to hear. And I just didn't want that routine, like, go to church on a Sunday, dread going to work every week, go to church on a Sunday, dread going to work every week, like, dread going to work tomorrow. Like, I never wanted that life for me. I never wanted to be average. I never wanted to be average in any way, shape, or form, in any aspect of my life. And so I would always think about that. Like, on Sundays, especially being the last ones to leave the dang parking lot, my mama always got to shut down the church. She got to close the pulpit, cut on the lights, cut off the lights, take down the flowers. She got to do everything, bro. Like, she felt like she had to do everything. I just saw that girl in the nail salon. I didn't know they live here. But that would be like my recurring thoughts as a child growing up. Like, I don't want this average life. Not to say the people at my church aren't extraordinary people, but I would always hear the adults, like, dreading their work week. And that would just, every week, I feel like that would just make me want more all the time. I would always just think about that. Like, I just want more. Like, I can't be this average. I can't. I'm going to church, but I can't just be going to church, dreading going to work, and then repeating that cycle over and over and over and over and over again. Like, there has to be more to life. And at a young age, I was thinking that. So I just always felt like, yeah, there's going to be more that I'm going to see, that I'm going to achieve, that I'm going to, you know, show my family. And I would always think that, like, I want more. But it's crazy that it took God literally to tap me on my shoulder and finally get me to move, because I've been wanting to do YouTube for a long time. Like, making fake vlogs, fake videos, recording content that I never post. And it's like, not to say YouTube is gonna be the way that I get to buying that big house, but it could be the catalyst, it could be the start. And I feel like God literally was like, okay, you've been talking about this for too long. You say you want all these things, all these desires, but you're not acting on it. Like, yes, I'm in PT school to be a doctor, but all these things you said you want to do outside of PT, like, I have so many dreams, so many visions, and I feel like God has given me these visions. So I had to see them through. But I'll be gaining knowledge, doing research, and never acting on it. So action is what it's going to take. You know, I can't just be having faith without the work, or doing all this studying. What's the word they call it? Dang. Analysis paralysis. Basically doing a whole bunch of studying and not acting on it. But yeah. So one thing that I have learned this year is that when God tells you to move, you need to move, baby. You don't have no time to waste. You need to move right then, because delayed obedience is disobedience. And you have to be obedient right then. And that's what I've learned. That's what I'm learning. I did lose a lot being obedient, but I know that God's will is better than my will. His way is better than my way. And he wouldn't lead me astray. So he's going to give me back what I lost and then some. And I'm praying that he gives me back what I lost. But, you know, his way up or no way. So I'm trusting God, and I know that what he has for me is better than anything I could ever imagine. And I be imagining some good stuff, guys. So you better come through. You want to come through. I need you to show up. And, like, yeah, because I got some crazy wild dreams, and I'm ready for the world to see. You know, I am really ready. But yeah, I just wanted to say thank you, God, for getting me this far, for keeping me, for showing me, speaking to me, showing me everything that you have in store for me, all the visions that you have given me, all the dreams that you have given me. And I just pray that with you, that I can see them through. And I pray for anyone who's watching this, if they're going through a similar situation, if they are seeking your voice, that they open up their Bible and they're able to fast and pray and listen for you, spend time in solitude with you, God. So I thank you for the now, for the future, for the past, for everything that you've done in my life to get me where I am, everything that you're going to do in the future. My family, my friends, and the person watching this video. God bless you, and thanks for watching. Bye.
Yeah.